Okay. Um. So the typical thing. This is what my videos are all about. Is showing what they do to me. It's disturbing. It's foul. But you see this. This is a new album that came out, and I see that in my feed, right? Some singer, and she has a picture of this person. Now you understand. First of all, it's a little girl. It's a little black girl. So you understand they're gonna do pedophile type of torture, which at this point is clear that they have these tactics of doing these pedophile things. I'm never subscribed to it. I understand this is part of how us target individuals who are test subjects in this program that is improving and developing technologies that are being developed by the Department of Defense, and they utilize trash all around me that goes through the scripts that will do everything possible to make me subscriptive to the manipulations. Obviously, I know who I am. They're trying to make me acceptive of these falsifications and this manipulation. It's going to happen all the time. And one thing I want to make clear is every time they do to me, everything they do these things to me, I'm not going to let them escape. By the end of watching me, you will, whatever fantasy you put together, you will not delude yourself that you are war. You're not deluding yourself that you are mapping, but manipulating me. And if you're mapping how you can torment somebody into breaking them down. You not delude yourself that you don't do the pedophile type of torture. You not delude yourself that you're protecting children. You not delude yourself that you're protecting women. You'll be fully aware of what you're part of. It's disturbing. I hear this trash coming first and yelling, "Yeah, I feel," and of course, this is what they're contracted to do. This contracted trash by the government to try to gaslight you into accepting, to try to make you dismiss reality, because they have done that. They want you to do the same thing. I'm not gonna let them live that fantasy. Now I know who I'm going against. It's not me going against. I know who's doing this thing to me. It's not even a back and forth. It's no like winning or losing. I am a test subject in this program that is ran by the government, and they contract people to create psyops. Your whole environment, the people all around you, sole job is to try to make you be, or make you subscriptive of these manipulations. They are trying to do everything possible that I look at these things that I'm experiencing, because they make me experience these things, which are pedophilia centric, into something that makes sense, that this is organically happening. Let me say what the things they've said in the midst of me saying things that brings reality for what it is, that put things in perspective. Black girls, you're fired. Not real. Abuse. Her hands. Let me break down what they try to say. Not real. Try to dismiss that they don't do the pedophile type of torture. Black girls is basically that I will react like this because it's a black girl and somehow they mapped it to me as a child. Her hands, or you abuse, is trying to exaggerate the stupidness of what I did when I was in middle school in 8th grade. Try to exaggerate and try to say that what you're experiencing today is what you experienced at the time, which is not true. I'm a grown man. I'm not a child, right? It's obvious that this takes a level of retardation. And they want me to be subscriptive to these manipulations, which, of course, now when I speak about what they do to me, I bring up what they do to others, because there's nothing unique to me. What they do to me is what they've done to others. They do the pedophile type of torture. Now, let me explain to you the few things they try to do to create some sexual perception toward this child. One, I thought the singer, it was the picture of the singer for a second. I was like, she looks like a kid in this picture. Is that her? And they tried to make me look at her body to make me see if that's a child or if it's a woman, and make me look at the butt area. Of course, there's nothing there. It's a child. It's a butt of a child. There's no butt. It's a kid. So I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. I know that's what they like to do. Disturbing. I get a message from a perp who came into my life to try to gaslight me into accepting these pedophile things. She sent me a text of this thing, And I'm like, oh, okay, I know what she's trying to do. I delete that thing, but I have multiple phones. And I look at one place where I didn't delete it. I look at my text, and not sure what I'm looking at because I forgot that this is not deleted on this phone. And I'm looking, I'm like, I'm confused because it's not the full body. I think I'm looking, I was like, who is that? What's that? Is like a stomach or something? And I look back, I was like, oh no, it's that kid. But because the wind is blowing, it looks like it's a different picture or something like that. And it looks like the belly of it's so disturbing. I was like, they just wanted to disturb me in these ways. This is the stuff that I need to deal with on a daily basis. It's disturbing. And they are trying to brainwash me into accepting these manipulations, right? At this point, it's not even gaslighting, because gaslighting would be, at least if they thought that this is something is like hidden. It's not. I know you're trying to brainwash me into accepting this nasty manipulation as if it's me. I know that's the pedophilia type of torture. Immediately they say those things that I said. Black girls, you're fired. Just random things. They're just trying to disorient me. You abuse her hands, which is, remember what you did as a kid, and try to exaggerate, talking about her hands and whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm not a child. I know what I did as a child. I know that you guys actually abuse and torture children. And I know that you are trying to make me be subscriptive of these pedophilia things that you make me experiencing, saying that, oh, the way what you're experiencing today is how you felt when you were a kid. And I know how horrible you guys are to children. Yes, I know your tortures, including torturing children. Now, before I die, before I'm tortured to the point where I can't speak, this is the things I don't mind saying over and over and over. Because what they're trying to do is to try to make you believe that what you're experiencing today is not the manipulations that you've heard others talk about. But they don't do these manipulations that are pedophilia-centric, meaning they do the pedophilia type of torture. But somehow, they looked into your brain and found that that's how you felt when you were a child. So we're making you a child again. Because that makes rational, logical sense. And we won't do the pedophilia type of torture that you hear almost all target individuals experiencing. Black girls. That's how you react when you're a child toward black girls. And make me feel this reaction and stimulations, which they say they mapped it when I was a child. And now even saying, oh no, by manipulating my memories as an adult to make me feel I experienced that also as an adult. Yes, I know this trash are low life and bottom feeders. And trash, bottom feeders that they'll be reimbursed properly. But I know they're trash. The people behind this actually have a problem with pedophilia. This is why I have no problem bringing that up. This is, by the way, I made similar videos like that so much in my other channel. And because they don't like when I put things in perspective, I've seen them being removed because they call these things matching. Which is why I'm calling this video matching. Which is them doing the pedophilia type of torture and try to make you be subscriptive of this pedophilia type of torment. Listen to what they do. You've heard this before. It's okay. We can always hear that again.
This is Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture and physical damage.
With young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism. She was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic. And they used her to threaten the most torture in me, as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions, despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions and had been making incredible progress on all of her therapy goals. Being torture on me, making me scream and cry, etc. They would make the kids act out the kinds of torture that would later be done on me. For example, they would also sometimes make her bite her hand, threatening to make me bite my hands, as they often do. One day, she had a large, severe bite mark on her arm. She has also grabbed her crotch, saying, "Ow," and this was used to threaten me with severe sexual torture. Also observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister, who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "Ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe pain.
Colorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years, Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old. Not only have I been going through this, but my entire family has suffered right by my side. We have all experienced the same type of harassment on different levels. We have all suffered the same symptoms while this harassment was going on. Some of our physical symptoms include severe tooth decay and vision loss, unexplained rashes and burns, severe headaches, mood swings, anxiety, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, heart problems, vision loss, and cancer. Two of my children were born premature, which I attribute to this. Our son Dylan, now age 9, was born very premature. He was born at 31 weeks. During her pregnancy with Dylan, we were being targeted more so than other times. At the delivery, there were weird men walking and waiting around the hospital. Right outside our delivery room window, there was a white cargo van parked with 2 suspicious men inside. They were there the entire labor, a delivery. Our son had to be transported to another hospital 45 minutes away. When arriving to the Toa hospital, those same men and van were present. Rashes that have not been explained by several doctors. These rashes have been present for several years at a time. If interested, I will gladly furnish you with detailed photos of the rashes. Our infant daughter, at 3 weeks old, was diagnosed with Lerner syndrome. This was after a severe rash appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured. Reason the flashing lights. My 9-year-old son Dylan complained about the lights. You will often hear that vision is something that is greatly affected with this type of torture. For the undesirable, and that's one of the excuses this groups give for the neighbor TO join, deception. I learned to talk back in my mind during the process when I was awakened, and I would say demeaning things that I cannot repeat it in this blog. You know what I mean. Since they had violated me for so long, I decided to aggravate them with words in my mind. I can hear my own voice. I told them, I'm going to make you pay for all of the years of torture that I've taken, and all you are going to hear is aggravation. For every single second of my privacy that you have taken away from me and my family. Then said this, the slaves began a program of perversion. First was with my dog. I am very playful with my pet, and suddenly one day that I was petting him I felt strange, in the sense of the word. I
thought, this is strange, and then afterwards that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was impost, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you are trying to do, and I started laughing, and then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ASS, so just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use. A people, better said young people, also children for the torture and stalking, street theater etc. Especially teenagers for the stalking at close range with an attitude, they are using them during my sleep in the perversion program, and so you can imagine what the slaves of torture are pretending to do to me. In the last days, as today September 9th, 07, anything I do, either watching TV or reading of whatever I'm doing, they brush me sort of say, I feel like I'm aroused all day and I feel the palpitations in my genitals for what I'm thinking, and since the attack comes so quickly, I realized my programming has been set on auto, in their central computers, no handlers could do something like this that quick. What make me realized, the slaves are desperate to get me. Unfortunately for them they are facing a strong wall where no matter how much their computers EAP me, I know I'm not changing. As I said, I feel like they've been set up a being where I feel constantly stimulated. I'm talking sexually, like a heat in my genitalia.
My life is somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophiles. Like this disgusting things. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting things that I don't even want to talk about because it makes me sick. I don't even like those words in my mind. But it is what it is. So I have no choice now but to acknowledge that there are people in my surroundings or whatever they're doing. I don't know how they do it. I don't care.
Voice to skull. This involves the projection of voices, noises, and music directly into my mind to communicate with me in real time and at the speed of thought. And it also includes the manipulation of thoughts, emotions, and perceptions in the person's mind. Additionally, the targeting is all highly perverted and sexual, as well as just. This is the alteration of the smell sensation, so that I am often made to smell various things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture. Disturbing pornographic images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos, including highly disturbing pedophilia type of images and videos. When I close my eyes.
All targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds.
Symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable. Is this something that is happening for whatever reason with more frequency in our intelligence agencies, or is this something that is more pervasive in the general population than I originally realized? I mean, what's going on here? This is so bizarre and so evil.
Allie, we're told, and when I was put through recruitment into the intel community, you're put through polygraphs, you're put through a rigorous selection process. Why aren't these people weeded out? Why are so many pedophiles allowed to be given top-level security clearance? Remember, these aren't just people walking in off the street and saying, hey, can I get hired? Can I get a job? You're put through an extremely rigorous background check screening process. It's called an SSBI, single scope background investigation. There are people, they interview you, they interview your family, they interview your contacts, they go through your online footprint, they go through everything. So why is it that when they're going through these footprints, they're not checking, these digital footprints, they're not checking for so many pedophiles getting through their ranks? If it were up to me, you need to go into Congress, and Congress needs to launch a brand new church committee, number one, to talk about domestic surveillance operations, but number two, to ask the question, why are there so many pedophiles sitting behind
CIA raping children and sexually assaulting children, and they're not being prosecuted? Where are you?
Is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this. And so anyway, my interview with Len, he very well described a typical breakdown script that's used on almost all the TI victims. TI stands for targeted individuals. Some of them are pretty crazy. They have names like Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz, and those are the confusion tactics. And when they're breaking down the ego of the human through all the pains and tortures and the verbal breakdown, these are typical CIA torture scripts. I mean,
so you understand that there is a obvious patterns of manipulating target individuals in ways that are disturbing. And when I mean disturbing, I mean pedophilia type of tormenting, from implanting disturbing thoughts to making you feel stimulations and reactions that are sexual and make you feel like stimulations which are disturbing, which you heard this woman talk about how they make her feel like this warm heat feeling in a private area, and then just kind of aim those feelings toward children, which is disturbing, to the thoughts manipulations, to the implantation of like thoughts that's pedophilia centric. These things are the things they do. And what they're saying to me is like, no, what we're doing is for you, we're just mapping you to, and when I mean mapping is like making you feel reaction of how you would feel when you were a kid. We're not doing this pedophilia type of torture that you hear most target individuals are experiencing, but black girls, that's how you experience it. That's how you experience that, seeing black little girls. If you were children, but we're making you feel be you as an adult. Right? They're just mapping things, they're adjusting things around and matching it to some period of your time when you were a child. Which they're also trying to change that new narrative to like, oh, matter of fact, look at these memories, you felt that like that, and just changing memories like that. But then one thing they like to do is they also try to present themselves like, oh, you know what? But also because they try to make themselves be this like group of women that are avenging for what I did to this woman, or they're doing it for this woman on that. Like, listen, you don't care about women, because I can bring a lot of testimonials about what they do to women. Listen, they use a name. Let's just say this woman called Courtney, right? It's like, but you see, with Courtney, you didn't know you were in the wrong, and we showed you that was wrong. So you got to see that we're telling you who you are, as is you as black girls. So you see, because we talk about it's like, listen, first of all, you look for anything you can utilize to try to make me, to vilify me. They'll find anything they can to create these vilification tactics, but they do the manipulations, the pedophilia type of manipulation, so they can make you believe that you're somebody you're not. It's part of the breakdown of the self-image that you have of yourself, as you heard at the end. They try to make you be subscriptive of a new version of who you are, a version that is not you. They are trying to make you believe that you're somebody that you're not. Now, you don't care about this woman that you're pretending you're doing this for. There's a lot of women being tortured. Matter of fact, you heard earlier the story about this woman and her young child being tortured. There's a lot of stories of women being tortured in sexual ways that are so disturbing. And they don't care about women. And also then they care about this woman that they would destroy if she was put in this program. Yes, you bring that up because you want to vilify me. But yes, you are also trying to change me, change who I am, by implanting these disturbing reactions toward children. And I will never let you speak for this woman that I will call Courtney, because I know what you guys done to women. I know the horrible things you've done to women and how you've destroyed their life. For me, if I ever see this woman, I will run to her. I've actually kind of looked for her, but I know there's no way I would have found her. And I did my best, but I was like, what a waste of my time. I will never find this person. So I know who I am. I know what I'm not. I know I'm not perfect. I know my imperfections, and I know that they don't care about women with all these horrible things they've done to women. They have tortured them. They have done horrible things to them. They have tormented them and their children. Some of those torture you've heard are sexual for children. For women, almost all target, like a lot of women are being tortured sexually at some point. Like with V2K and synthetic telepathy, a lot of them are raped remotely. And some of these are horrible stories, but I've already shown, and you already listened to these horrible stories about this woman being raped and being refused to have like proper care or even like treatment. So to all my target individual, do not subscribe to these manipulations. Black little girls, white little girls, whatever it is. For me, I know it's manipulation. It's disturbing, but it's what I'm experiencing. They're now mapping to me when I was a child. I'm not a child in the ways. And so this disturbing ways of rewiring human beings in these disturbing ways and try to break them down and try to break their self-image, it's just the disturbing things they do. Do not subscribe to that and see yourself for who you really are, not the manipulations that you try to force you to experience. Stay strong.